following you, Andy. Go.
The Henry County SWAT team locked and loaded.
Wait for the bang.
Grenade.
They've got a no-knock warrant for an accused drug dealer.
Show me your hands! Show me your hands!
I got this.
8 body cameras were rolling in 2018 as the heavily armed deputies searched for their target in McDonough.
Sheriff's office, search warrant!
Something went off like a bomb in my house. I thought something loaded up in the house.
Sheriff's office, search warrant!
I need a kick.
Sheriff's office!
Got to the hallway, they was all over me.
Show me your hands! Get on the ground! Get on the ground now!
I said, what's going on? He says, no, you get down.
Up! Show me your hands! Get on the ground! Get on the ground now! Get on the ground!
Grabbed my arm, twisted behind my back, and handcuffed me.
Put your hands out in front of you, sir. Put your hands out in front of you.
Anybody advised if we have the target?
79-year-old Henri Norris was not the target. Deputies had the wrong man and the wrong house.
Sheriff's office! Search warrant!
I can't even imagine what he went through. I mean, like the Breonna Taylor situation. She's dead and gone. There's nothing that can be done to bring her back. And how many Breonna Taylors have to die? How many of my grandfather's houses have to be broke into? I mean, and that's how I feel like you broke into his house because you had no authority. You had no reason to be there before we get change. I mean, a change has to happen and needs to happen because more people are gonna die.
Geronimo!
If you're not safe in your own home from the government, when you've done nothing wrong, where are you safe?
Clearly nowhere. It's really sad, and it hurts even more because my grandfather has never been in any trouble with the police. He's never even had a ticket.
Henri was watching television in the McDonough home he's owned for 50 years. The no-knock search warrant was for the house next door through the woods. So how did deputies end up hitting a house with a different color, a separate driveway, its own mailbox, and another address?
Missed it.
We just got up.
Missed it.
First, the tactical team got lost following instructions from a GPS app on a phone.
Turn right on me.
Then, as soon as they got to the correct address, deputies were immediately confused.
Where's the house?
That's the house. I don't know about that house right there.
Where we at?
They walked right past the target house without clearing it and headed through the tree line to the next house on the street. Even then, deputies were unsure.
This house? This house?
Looking back and forth at the two houses, it was too late. The entry team was already forcing its way into Henri's home.
That just scared me to death. I already had heart trouble. I had heart surgery.
You got heart trouble. You got what? Heart trouble. All right, you have heart problems right now?
Yeah, I could have died. I could have had a heart attack.
When they finally realized they'd hit the wrong house, deputies turned their cameras off one by one.
Yeah, a pizza delivery man could have delivered a pizza to the correct address.
Daryl Scott is Henri's attorney. He sued Henry County's tactical commander, but a federal judge dismissed the case because police officers are entitled to qualified immunity.
That's what happens in the majority of cases. The cases are dismissed and officers are granted qualified immunity even when there's a constitutional violation.
Search warrant!
What is qualified immunity?
Qualified immunity is a court-invented doctrine that allows law enforcement officers and other government actors to avoid accountability when they violate a citizen's constitutional rights.
Judges created qualified immunity to protect individual officers from liability, unless victims can show the officers violated rights that are clearly established.
Shouldn't every officer know you don't knock down a door at the wrong house? Shouldn't every officer know you don't go handcuffing people who aren't the targets of your investigation? Shouldn't every officer know you don't throw a flashbang grenade into the wrong house?
Yeah, I think that's clearly established. That should be obvious for any law enforcement officer. That's obvious for untrained citizens.
The officers used a battering ram to enter the wrong house, used flashbang grenades, handcuffed the wrong man in the wrong house, and their get out of jail free card is I'm sorry and qualified immunity. Does I'm sorry cut it?
No, sorry, it does not cut it. It just shows that that badge is a get out of jail free card. It's showing that if I have a badge, I can say I'm sorry, and I have no accountability.
The government has given officers a blank check to go out in the community and break the law. They feel like they have the right to do that with no consequence.
As a screening mechanism for frivolous lawsuits, and what it's morphed into is almost absolute immunity for law enforcement officers.
If they're able to get away with this and not be held accountable, what's the danger then?
But they're going to just keep on doing it. They probably go into somebody's wrong house, somebody's going to get hurt.
Henri hasn't seen a penny in restitution, but his attorney, Daryl Scott, has filed an appeal with the 11th Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals, where he's already won a reversal in a similar case of qualified immunity.
Hey, turn around.
No.
Turn around.
Next, the case of the car, the cop, and the couple jailed for stealing a car they bought fair and square.
They shackled us like we were criminals.
And how qualified immunity led to a promotion for the detective who falsely arrested them. A couple back in 2015. They ended up in handcuffs for a crime they didn't commit, and the detective was granted qualified immunity.
It's okay.
No,
I'm getting a picture.
No, sir.
Call the
Get
police.
your ass out
Sir,
of my
I am on
property.
public property. You call the police then, or I will call the police.
Call him.
A towing company manager tries to block us from getting a picture of an impounded car.
I got a man up here taking pictures.
Sir.
I don't want him
Sir.
taking pictures of our yard.
Sir.
He don't have authorization.
Sir, this is
He
public
not
property.
proved who
Please
he
step
is.
aside.
Not shooting that way. Turn around.
No.
Turn around.
The car was on his property, but we were on a public sidewalk.
Stop taking pictures to the police.
Sir, I do not have to take your unlawful orders.
What's so special about this particular Toyota? It was impounded by Clayton County Police from owners Michael and Michelle Pierce. The couple runs a thrift shop, and they routinely buy the contents of unpaid storage units. Their $1,700 bid won an auction for the Toyota.
And then we found out it was stolen.
They immediately called 911 and turned the Toyota over to police. But when Michael and Michelle discovered no one had a claim on the car, they went back to the Clayton County Police Department and got this signed release from impound.
Part of the procedure was to run the history of the vehicle, and it was clean and clear. Of course, that's why we got the T-22, the title bond, and Clayton County released it to us.
Then they got a call from Clayton County Detective Randy Brashears. He put the car back on the stolen list and demanded they hand it over again.
They called and said they made a mistake by releasing it to me, and that they was going to lock me up if I did not give it back.
An army of cops showed up at the couple's store.
We even got a tag and title bonded and everything.
And took the car away on a rollback. That was July of 2015 when they called the 11 Alive investigators. We sent an email to Detective Brashears. It's not clear what crime Michelle Pierce would have violated or why the threat of arrest was necessary for what would appear to be your department's mistake.
What did I do?
Just days later, Detective Brashears went back to the Pierce's shop with more officers.
They came in here and snatched me up as if I'd shot and killed somebody, and then turned around and locked my wife up, and never one time told us why they were doing it. They just did it.
Okay, so why am I under arrest? I haven't done anything.
That had to be the worst moment of our life.
It was just a nightmare from there on. I'm sitting there pleading with the detective, and I'm telling him, I'll get Brendan not to air the interview where we're asking for the money back.
They were both jailed for auto theft, and Michelle was also charged with felony forgery.
Trying to tell people, hey, I'm in here and I didn't do nothing wrong, you feel stupid, so you just shut your mouth and sit there. When we went to see the judge, they shackled us like we were criminals.
When they made bail, another Clayton County police officer met the couple in a Walmart parking lot.
You got blue collar crime, and you got straight up like murder, rape. We can't help you with them kind of charges. Exactly. This, they can go away.
He said that he had people
On the inside.
who would get rid of these charges.
Yes, and he said he's done it before.
The couple secretly recorded their meeting with Officer Grant Kidd.
He used to charge $750 each. He said he's going there. $750. And you pay $1,000 up front, then The rest of you pay out, it go away.
This police officer was telling you if you paid him $1,500, the charges would disappear.
Yes.
If it don't go away, if it go out to the grand jury and you get your money back.
Clayton County immediately fired Officer Kidd, and then the FBI arrested him for soliciting a bribe from the Pierces. The DA then dismissed the case against Michael and Michelle, saying the car was legally purchased at auction and there is no evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant sought to defraud anyone.
At the end of all of this, the district attorney determined no crime had been committed.
Well, I mean, a 2-year-old could see that.
Detective Brashears is still on the job.
I want him held accountable. I don't care if he gets a slap on the wrist, but he done wrong, and if he done it to us and he's not held accountable, he can do it again.
He didn't respond to our request for an interview, so we caught up with him at police headquarters.
Can we help you?
Yeah, I'm Brendan Key from 11 Alive. Detective, can you tell us why you arrested the Pierces when even the DA says you didn't have a case?
Sir, you've been told by our attorney that we have no statement for you.
We went to jail. We were punished for doing the right thing.
You have nothing to say to the Pierces after denying them their freedom?
I know that God and karma will get him.
Did you arrest them because they called us? Was it revenge?
Yeah, this is too easy. We got a stolen car, man. This is too easy. Let's turn it in and try to steal it back from the police.
Do car thieves, in your experience, usually call the police?
Officer Grant Kidd pleaded guilty to soliciting a bribe and got probation. But the lawsuit against Detective Brashears was thrown out. To sue a city or a county, they can claim sovereign immunity to get the lawsuit thrown out. Individual officers are entitled to qualified immunity, which is why a federal judge dismissed the case filed by Michael and Michelle Pierce against the detective who arrested the innocent couple.
What did I do?
How much is your freedom worth? Michael and Michelle Pierce sued Detective Randy Brashears of the Clayton County Police Department after they were arrested for a crime they didn't commit.
Our whole life got turned upside down.
They're totally the victims in this case. Clayton County made a mistake in releasing the vehicle, and then rather than owning up to the mistake, they had my clients arrested for it.
But a federal judge didn't have to examine the paperwork error that put the couple behind bars. The case was dismissed because a police officer is protected by qualified immunity.
Because he failed to do his job, I guess he just had an attitude and he thought, well, I'm a cop, I'm covered.
Turn around.
No.
Turn around.
They didn't even get the car back. The police department took it from the Pierces and sold it at auction.
After they took it from us the second time, it gets sold and re-auctioned, and now someone in my hometown is driving it.
Attorney Daryl Scott appealed to the 11th Circuit, and the U.S. Court of Appeals reversed the dismissal. Detective Brashears was stripped of qualified immunity because he did not have arguable probable cause to arrest the couple. Michael and Michelle got a settlement, and Brashears got a promotion to sergeant earlier this year.
There is protections in place for officers who make reasonable mistakes, but the immunity law is not designed to protect an officer who acts maliciously.
Remember, Daryl Scott is the same attorney who's currently appealing the dismissal of Henri Norris's lawsuit for that no-knock wrong house raid of his home. But that's not the only qualified immunity case currently on appeal to the 11th Circuit.
Are you arrested because you think I smoke marijuana?
Next, drivers with clean blood tests jailed for driving stoned by an officer granted qualified immunity.
Something I have to carry for the rest of my life.
The drug whisperer revealed multiple drivers arrested on drug charges when their blood tests came back clean. The ACLU and 4 victims identified in our story sued the Cobb County Police Department. But just this year, a federal judge dismissed the case against the arresting officer, granting him qualified immunity.
This time being taken into custody, okay, for DUI drugs.
My name is Caitlin, and it happened to me.
It happened to me. Well, I believe you have, okay? I need to borrow your arm real quick, okay?
It happened to me.
Innocent people arrested for driving on drugs.
It happened to me.
Our investigation shows this is not limited to one arrest or one officer.
I'm placing you under arrest for suspicion of DUI, less safe drugs, okay?
It's a nationwide phenomenon.
It happened to me.
It happened to me.
So you're saying that you don't smoke marijuana?
It happened to me.
It happened to me.
To me.
To me.
To me.
To me.
To me. When's the last time you smoked weed? I don't smoke weed. You don't smoke weed? No, not at all.
It happened to college student Princess Umbamara.
Something I have to carry for the rest of my life. You arrested me because you think I smoke marijuana?
I believe that you're impaired by cannabis. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, search. I don't smoke weed. Is there a way you can test me right now?
The blood test came back 6 months later, completely clean.
They tossed the case.
I remember my lawyer trying to talk about a deal. I was like, what? I'm not taking a deal. I didn't do anything. Well, I want, like, my life back. Can you reverse time?
It happened to Auburn student Kunle Oriomi.
You're giving me indicators that you have consumed marijuana, so you're being placed under arrest for DUI, okay?
Again, blood and urine were negative for drugs.
You're giving me signs of ingestion of marijuana, okay?
It happened to young mother Brittany Penwell and to waitress Caitlin Ebner.
Okay, so when I do a drug test, I'll be free to go, correct?
You're going to jail, ma'am.
All 4 cases were dismissed, and all 4 of our victims filed suit against the officer and the county for false arrest.
We have police officers arresting innocent people and throwing them into jail based on a training that is completely unreliable and is based on junk science.
Can you stick your tongue out real big at me?
But just this year, a federal judge threw out the ACLU lawsuit, ruling Officer Carroll is entitled to qualified immunity in all 4 cases.
If I'm that police officer and I'm deciding whether or not to arrest you, there's really no downside risk for me as a police officer to
There's no
arrest you.
consequences.
If this can happen to you, it can happen to anybody.
It could happen to anybody.
If he was exonerated in his internal affairs investigation and you really can't sue him, why would officers stop arresting innocent people?
They wouldn't. This is just going to keep going on and on and on until someone steps up and realizes that these officers aren't doing the right things. They're getting credit for arresting innocent people. They're getting raises for it.
Indeed, Officer Carroll got a medal from Mothers Against Drunk Driving for 90 DUI arrests that year, including the 4 drivers who turned out to be sober.
If you know that if you do something wrong and you don't get punished or, reprimanded for it, you're going to keep doing it. You're going to keep doing it. Who cares if somebody, speaks out on it? You're going to keep doing it because you have that little badge of honor. Who can tell you otherwise?
Okay, hi everybody, I'm back, and I just played you 3 videos, and the channel is The Reveal. Please go check them out. I appreciate the job they're doing in showing on their channel what is going on in the world today and has to be fixed as well. And this is something I've been wanting to get into too, and I've talked about a little bit in my other videos, but qualified immunity is a very dangerous thing, and it has to be handled, and we have to do something to stop it. That's got to be gone. I know I've got it in my notes here, but I'm going to jump ahead and then I'm going to read. This was made by judges to cover their own butts and their government employees' butts. This is not a law that should have ever been passed by the people who use it for corruption. And it should have never been passed for many reasons, and we're going to go over that. But in those 3 videos, you just seen all those people were innocent. Innocent. And they all were violated, arrested, treated like garbage, and taken advantage of, and had their rights violated. So how do you hold the powerful accountable when they're immune from the laws and lawsuits? How do you hold them accountable? And even if you win a lawsuit, they're not held accountable because we pay the freaking bill. Qualified immunity, Qualified immunity, the right for the police to break the law, violate citizens and their rights in every way and get away with it. That's what qualified immunity is. I don't know why I'm so tongue-tied tonight. And then sovereign immunity, where the city and county can do the same. So if you go after the city or county, they can say the same thing, just so they don't get in any trouble. And again, who made these laws? The people who want to be protected from them. So why don't we just make up our own laws so that we can be protected as citizens as well? Makes sense to me. Judges use these two immunities to throw out citizens' cases to protect their people. You get that? To protect their own people. These immunities were made by judges to protect themselves and their people, government employees, from being held accountable. We, the people, need to make sure this gets changed. Not only do they violate us and abuse their positions, they use this to get out of the situation or situations. If they can't and a citizen wins, we still end up paying for their mistakes with our money. Then these corrupt government employees get raises, rewards, and awards, promotions, etc. to violate citizens and even ruin their lives, even innocent ones. These people use these to protect themselves so they can violate other people. That has to be stopped. And you've seen it in the 3 videos that you just watched. And what happened to any of them officers besides one? And he got a little slap on the wrist. But these people's lives are being ruined. Do our rights really matter or exist if they can't be enforced? Or does qualified immunity lead to police impunity? Obviously. Here are 3 stories that show you our rights don't matter or even being completely innocent. These people were all completely innocent. They all went to jail. They all now have records. And what came out of it? These situations happen more than you will ever know. They also could happen to you, so you better realize that. If not stopped, and their get out of jail free card or any trouble is qualified immunity. So this can happen to you, and you are innocent and done nothing wrong, and you get arrested, and they have violated your rights, and they got the get out of jail free card. Meanwhile, your life is ruined. Wake up, people. It's time to stand up for your rights and make a difference. The police could kick down your door on a no-knock warrant for someone else's address, as we've seen before, and people even have been, you know what, not here anymore. Their life is gone due to the wrong address. And they got qualified immunity to take someone's life, to break down your doors, to violate your rights. But the Constitution is supposed to protect us from that. Officers can jail you for auto theft or driving stoned or intoxicated, even if you're completely innocent. And we also see on top of that the planting of substances, and they get away with that. And I'm going to put some videos up of that soon. Sad thing is, at this point, there is nothing to stop them from doing it again and again and continuing this as long as they want to. At this point, it will never stop unless we stop it. Because they got qualified immunity protecting them and their judges protecting them. Because agents of the government are entitled to a special privilege that is not available to any other citizen accused of breaking the law. Qualified immunity, again, has to be stopped and taken away. Right is right and wrong is wrong. That is why it is, and that is the way it is and how it should be. Just like anyone else, and if they're wrong, that's their bill to pay, not ours. Then they won't feel so free to do wrong. These free passes are why they feel so powerful and untouchable. They can do as they will and do whatever they want. Hell, there is no consequences. Free pass to do bad and do wrong. And they use it. They use it. Now, as you've seen in the video, First Detective Brashear stayed employed, and the case against him was thrown out for what he did to these innocent people and to continue to do it to others with qualified immunity. Officer Grant Kidd only got probation. And I think it was, a year? I forget. I just put probation, but I think it was like a year. Slap on the wrist. Even with all of this, Brashear got a promotion to sergeant. Really? More power under him to hurt other people. The only good that came out of this is that the victims finally got a settlement from it and their losses. But guess who paid for that? We did. Not the officers, and they are still out there to keep doing this to other people. And the first clip and the last clip, all those officers got away with what they did to the other people. Completely got away with it. With qualified immunity. This is another topic we need to dive into and start getting together to make changes. Qualified immunity should not exist, and we should not be paying the bills of officers that do not follow their oaths and violate people's rights. Enough is enough. People, wake up. This is our country. We're supposed to be free. We're supposed to be able to live a decent life. And these made-up laws to protect other people who feel they're above regular citizens, which they should be considered as well, get to do whatever they want to and are protected from any wrongdoing. I was even in a situation at one time and, a lawyer told me, yeah, you're right, but it's cheaper just to pay. It's about right and wrong, and I shouldn't have to pay when I'm right just because it's cheaper than fighting. And it shouldn't be cheaper than fighting. You should be able to take your situation to a good person and get it resolved instead of having to deal with crooked government employees and have to decide whether it's worth fighting for or not financially. This is where things have to be fixed, because it can't keep going like this in America today. It's gone on for too long, and too many people have got hurt, innocent people, and too many corruption people, whether it's cops, government employees, or whatever, there's too much corruption out there hurting people. And they shouldn't be getting away with it. And it shouldn't be continuing. And it'll only continue as long as you people okay it and just deal with it. Until everybody decides to stand up and do the right thing and fight for what's right, we're going to be in this situation. And it's not okay. It's not fair. It's not right. And it should not continue. And I know a lot of people are starting to wake up. And we need to keep waking them up. So please, if you know anybody that you need to wake up, send them here. Let's have a talk with them. Let's open their eyes. You know, I asked somebody today a question about corruption in the government. And I'm like, do you know that this even goes on? And she's like, no. Oh my God. A lot of people don't even know because they don't get outside whatever little world they're dealing with in their small world. A lot of people keep themselves, and I'm not saying that in a negative way, but they keep themselves in a little bubble of protection. And they don't want to know the bad stuff in life. But if you don't know the bad stuff in life, how do you know when something needs to be fixed as big as this? You have to open your eyes to what's going on in the world today, especially when it's to the point it is. And it's gotten so bad. You have to start wondering and caring why it is the way it is. And why it's not been fixed in all these generations that we've been going through this with. And you have to want to fix them. Look at, again, all these lives that have been ruined. And this guy gets a freaking reward and promoted for violating people's rights. Is that not a wake-up call? I hope so. I surely hope so. If you see this video, I hope it rocks you to your core. That there are officers and government officials that get rewarded for violating people's rights and are still working in those positions today to continue to do it to other people, which could be you or your family next. So I think it's time we wake up and we do what we need to do to fix it and make it right. And hopefully, people will see this and people will wake up and want to join and want to discuss it and want to figure out what our next step is to change what is going on in America today. This is not the land of the free. You're already enslaved. Don't let it be all the way. And you see more and more of it every single day with every piece of news I dig into, every video I see, every video I try to put up for you or talk I try to have with you. You should be seeing it too. I see it every single day, how bad it is and how worse it is and how it's going to get worse if we don't stand up for our rights and what we deserve. Not just as citizens, but as human beings. Think about that. Think about it strong and hard, because that's our reality. All right, guys, that is 2 videos tonight that I've completed, and I'm going to go home and see my little one and give her some loving. And you guys, I care. I'm doing this because I care. I want to help make a difference and a change in America. And we all need to want that, and we all need to do it together. We all need to stand together. Don't let them divide us. because that is the game they've been playing for a very long time. Go back to the old saying, divide and conquer. That's what our government uses on us, divide and conquer. We need to stand strong, stand together, and stand for our rights. And I'll leave you on that note. I love you guys. Take care. Love your family. Love your friends. Hold everybody close. And let's do what's right for them. And I will see you on my next video. Love you. God bless. Have a great night.